What if your home was like a room full of wind, but the wind was stuck in every corner, every walkway, every flat surface? In other words, you walk through the door and it already feels tight, heavy, and a little suffocating, even though you've cleaned more times than you can remember. When I was living in China, I kept hearing one line: where energy flows, calmness grows. I brushed it off for years until I started testing it in my own space and realized it wasn't mystical at all. It was painfully practical. Move one object out of a walkway, clear one surface properly, remove one little blockage, and suddenly the whole room shifts, lighter, brighter, and unmistakably calmer. Your body notices before your brain does. In this video, I'm sharing 10 small but surprisingly powerful shifts I've used in my own home over the years. If your space always feels a bit cramped or stuffy, you'll find at least one thing you can try today and feel the difference instantly, without waiting for perfect timing or a full reset. So first, let's change the question you ask before you even open a drawer. Most of us start decluttering with, do I keep this or throw it away? That one question is heavy. It drags in guilt. Money memories, what if I need it later? And your brain quietly shuts down. Instead, try this much kinder question. Is this helping my day flow, or is it blocking me? Think about how you actually move through your home on a tired day. You walk in with bags, you head to the kitchen, you drag yourself to bed. Anything you keep bumping into, stepping over, shifting out of the way, or quietly swearing at is not neutral. It's a little speed bump you hit 10 times a day, no matter how pretty or expensive it was. In my house, there was a small chair in the walkway to the kitchen. I bought it thinking cute spot to sit and put on shoes. In real life, no one sat there. It just collected laundry and bags. Every time I carried dishes past it, I had to twist my body. Every time I mopped, I dragged it out and dragged it back. One day, I finally asked, does this make my day easier, or does it just look good in my head? The answer was obvious. The chair left the walkway opened, and the same chores felt lighter. When you look at your home this way, you stop calling yourself bad with clutter and start seeing a few very specific things that are simply in the way of the life you're trying to live. Your home isn't cluttered, it's blocked. And once you see that the next natural step is to ask if only a few spots are really blocking you, where should you focus first, so the whole house doesn't feel impossible. And that leads perfectly into the next video, a simple, low-effort organizing system that keeps your home running smoothly without constant decluttering. It's the piece that ties everything together, so stay tuned for that one. From there, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to shrink the playing field. When your brain hears, I need to clean the house, it pulls up every unfinished corner you've been avoiding for months. That's too big, too heavy. It makes you want to lie down and scroll instead. What actually shapes your day-to-day feeling isn't every single room, it's the places you touch over and over again. The spot you see when you walk in, the place where you sleep, the area where you're always rinsing dishes, making coffee, or packing food. If those three feel chaotic, your whole life feels chaotic. If those three are good enough, the rest becomes background noise you can tackle when you have capacity. So instead of promising yourself, today I'll clean the house, try something lighter. Like today I'll just reset 3 touch points. The rest can wait. On the days I'm most tired, that's the only deal I make with myself. I'll come home and see toys spread all over the sofa, a laundry basket half folded in the bedroom, and papers leaning against the wall. Before that would send me straight into overwhelm. Now I walk past it and go straight to my 3 spots. At the entrance, I clear enough space so the door opens freely and I'm not stepping on shoes and boxes. In the kitchen, I give the sink and a small strip of counter my attention so at least one part looks calm. In the bedroom, I clear my nightstand and the immediate area around my pillow so I'm not going to bed looking at a pile of shoulds. It's rarely perfect. Sometimes there are still cups by the sink or a small pile of clothes on the chair. But the next morning, I didn't wake up in chaos from the first moment. My eyes can land somewhere that doesn't make my chest tighten. Once those 3 touch points become part of your rhythm, you'll start to feel a difference, even if the rest of the house still needs work. And if you're wondering which touch point gives you the quickest I can breathe again feeling, I'd start with the very first one you see your entryway. Now let's zoom in on that first 3-second moment when you walk through the door. Think about how many evenings you've come home, opened the door, and instantly felt your shoulders lift instead of soften. You look down, and there are shoes in every direction. Delivery boxes you haven't broken down yet, bags on the floor, coats hanging halfway off hooks, and mail scattered somewhere near the door. You haven't even put your keys down, and you already feel tired. That's not you being dramatic. That's your body reacting to a space that's shouting at it. The entryway is the mouth of your home. It's where the day comes in and where you shed everything you've been carrying. If that spot is clogged, the whole home feels like it can't breathe properly. If it's clear enough, even if the rest is still messy, you get a tiny sense of, okay, I'm safe here. You don't need a fancy built-in bench or a styled mudroom. You just need a very small, regular reset. Pick one day a week and spend 5 to 10 minutes on just that patch of floor and wall. Break down the cardboard boxes that have been sitting there for days. Throw out the junk mail you stepped over 5 times. Admit that the pair of shoes with the broken sole isn't coming back into rotation and let it go. Then choose a simple home for the things that actually belong in that area. A bowl or tray where keys, cards, and random receipts can land. A couple of hooks for the bags and coats you use every single week. A low shoe rack that holds the current season, not your entire shoe history. In my house, changing that one spot did more for my mood than deep cleaning a whole room. Before I'd open the door and feel vaguely annoyed before anyone even said a word. I didn't connect it to the mess by the entrance. It just felt like I'm always tired. After I cleared the boxes, retired some old shoes, and made one small predictable landing zone for keys, stepping through the door felt different. The chaos wasn't the first thing I encountered. There was a slice of floor. There was a clear wall. My body got the message. You're home, not in a storage unit. It might seem dramatic to say such a small corner changes how you breathe, but in my experience, it really does. If the entry breathes, you breathe. And once the way home feels softer, you're more willing to look at the next place your nervous system desperately needs: relief, your bedroom. After you make it easier to walk through the door, the next honest question is, what is your bedroom doing to your brain at night? Bedrooms quietly become the holding area for everything we don't know where to put. A chair becomes a second closet. A dresser turns into a landing zone for projects you haven't finished. The nightstand becomes a tiny museum of creams, chargers, receipts, and random life fragments. And then you lie down and wonder why your mind won't switch off. You don't need a perfect styled bedroom, you just need the space around your bed to stop talking at you. Start with the arm's reach zone, the nightstand, the floor beside you, the place your eyes land before sleeping. Keep only what you actually use: a lamp water, maybe the book you're reading right now. Everything else is noise you don't need at midnight. Then look at what's facing your bed. For a few nights in one old apartment, I draped a light blanket over the mirror across from the bed. Nothing else in the room changed, but the sleep did. The space stopped bouncing my own tired face back at me. It felt less like a room that needed things from me and more like a place that was allowed to exhale. And if there's one hidden spot that affects your sleep more than you think it's under the bed, you don't need to clear it perfectly, just pull out the things you obviously don't need: the forgotten bags, the maybe someday clothes, the box you haven't opened since moving in. Every item you remove tells your body quietly but clearly you're not lying on top of unfinished business. When the space around your bed becomes even a little quieter, your mind follows. And once you've given yourself that calmer ending to the day, there's one more simple tweak that helps your eyes and brain cope with the rest of the house, even when it's not all under control. Before we even talk about tidying, I want to give you something much smaller. Something you can actually use today. Every room has its own lungs. When every surface is covered, the whole room feels like it's holding its breath. So, here's a tiny anchor you can use anywhere one calm surface. A place where the room can breathe. That heavy feeling of everything is a mess often comes less from how much stuff you own and more from the fact that your eyes have nowhere to rest. Everywhere you look, there's a reminder, a task, a decision. Instead of chasing the impossible goal of getting the whole room tidy, choose one surface in each room to be your quiet zone. It doesn't have to be big. In the living room, it might be the coffee table. In the kitchen, a small stretch of counter. In the bedroom, your nightstand. At your desk, just enough space for your laptop and a drink. At the end of the day, your job becomes gentler. You're not cleaning the whole room, you're just giving that one surface its breath back. You slide the toys into their basket and wipe the coffee table, even if the sofa still has a blanket and the floor still has a backpack. In my living room, the coffee table became that small patch of sanity. Some evenings, the rest of the room still looked like real life. A half-finished puzzle, a hoodie on the couch, but if I took 2 minutes to clear that table, the whole space felt different. My eyes finally had somewhere to land, and my brain got one quiet message: this part is okay. Before we get deeper into organizing, we need to deal with something most people completely overlook: the broken or damaged items quietly draining your energy in the background. A stopped clock, a cracked mirror, a drawer that jams a table that wobbles. They seem harmless because you've lived with them for so long, but they're not neutral. They're like buggy apps running in the background, invisible but draining your battery. You may not consciously think about them, but every time you pass by, your brain registers a tiny alert: still not fixed. You'll get to me eventually. Another unfinished thing. One item feels small. 10 of them become a silent to-do list scattered throughout your home. One you never wrote down, but feel the weight of anyway. Here's a simple habit. Once a week, choose one small area: the kitchen, the entryway, the living room, and scan only for broken or damaged items. If you can repair it quickly, schedule it that same week. If it's not worth fixing, it's time to release it. Donate it, recycle it, or thank it and let it go. I call this the 5-minute broken item debt clearance, because that's exactly what it is: clearing emotional and mental debt disguised as everyday objects. And once these silent drains are gone, something surprising happens. The whole space feels calmer, like it finally exhaled. But clearing broken things is just the start. Because even in a home where nothing is damaged, rooms can still feel heavy and cramped. That's where the next tip comes, in a simple rule that instantly opens up your shelves, your counters, and your mind: the 70 to 80% rule. The difference between chaos and calm is often just 20% of empty space. Not new furniture, not better containers, just room for your eyes, your things, and your mind to breathe. After clearing the broken or draining items, what's left in your home still needs space to exist without overwhelming you. A shelf or cabinet doesn't have to be messy to feel stressful. It just has to be full. When everything is packed, edge to edge, books squeezed in until they bow, baskets overflowing drawers where nothing slides smoothly, your brain registers it as pressure. There's no rhythm, no pause, no place for your attention to land. That's why the 70-80% rule is so powerful. Aim for your storage to feel 20 to 30% empty. Not minimalist, not bare, just breathable. Instead of asking yourself the usual, how can I fit everything in here? Flip the question to something gentler and far more effective. What can I remove so what remains actually has space to function? That mindset shift is what stops you from chasing storage hacks and instead helps you build rooms that support you. When I first applied this, I started with the cabinet under my sink. It looked organized, everything in containers, everything labeled, but it was stuffed to the max. Anytime I needed something, things had to be shuffled, lifted, or pushed aside. One afternoon, I pulled out a handful of items I hadn't used in months, backups, expired products, old cleaners, and suddenly the cabinet felt twice as functional, even though I only removed a small fraction. I didn't need more bins, I needed less density. Try choosing one shelf, one drawer, or one basket and lighten it until you can see a bit of space along the edges. Notice how your breathing shifts. Notice how your shoulders settle. That's not aesthetic, that's nervous system relief. And here's the real magic. Once even a single area has that breathing room, the rest of the space starts feeling less suffocating too. The room feels bigger without changing anything else. You feel more able to move to tidy, to think. As you continue through your home, keep that 20% in mind. It's not wasted space. It's the space that keeps everything else from becoming noise. Now that you've created some literal room for calm, let's turn to another kind of spaciousness, the kind that comes from light and fresh air. That's where the home begins to feel alive again. Sometimes your room feels heavy, even when it's clean. It's not always the things in the room that weigh on you. Often it's the atmosphere itself. Stale air-blocked windows or harsh overhead lighting can make a perfectly tidy space feel dull, cramped, and strangely tiring. Your brain reads the environment long before you consciously do, and when the air is still or the light is off, your body feels it. That's why I want you to build a tiny daily habit, the 5-minute light and air reset. Start with air. Even if you can't keep a window open all day, opening it for just 5 minutes can shift the entire feeling of the room. Fresh air clears out the heaviness you don't notice building up. Cooking smells, stagnant warmth, or that closed-in feeling you get when everything has been shut tight for hours. Think of it as hitting refresh on your home's atmosphere. Next, let your space breathe through light. During the day, notice what's blocking the sun. A pile of mail on the windowsill, a curtain pulled too tightly, a tall object casting a shadow. These seem minor, but they interrupt the natural flow of light that makes a room feel open and alive. Make it a habit to pull curtains wider and clear the windowsill so daylight can enter without obstacles. It's a small action with an instant payoff. At night, shift the lighting altogether. Overhead lights often feel sharp, cold, or clinical, especially when you're trying to unwind. So, turn them off when you can. Use lamps, floor lights, or soft accent lights to create warmth in the room. Softer lighting calms your nervous system, makes your space feel more inviting, and reduces the visual noise you experience without realizing it. This reset takes less time than scrolling through your notifications, yet it changes how your space holds you. It stops your home from feeling stagnant and encourages the sense of openness we've been building through the earlier tips. And now that your rooms have a clearer, more breathable atmosphere, we can move to the next layer, reducing the visual distractions still lingering on your walls, shelves, and surfaces. That's where the next tip will take us. Speaking of distractions, let's address visual noise. The things around you that aren't clutter, but still create chaos in your space. Your eyes get tired long before your hands do, and visual noise is why. This kind of clutter is subtle. You don't trip over it, you don't pick it up, you barely even touch it. But your mind registers it every single time you pass by. It's the fridge covered in magnets and receipts, the wall filled with photos and quotes, the shelf lined, edge to edge with trinkets. Nothing is technically messy, yet the room still feels busy and overstimulating. Visual noise is sneaky because it hides behind familiarity. You see it so often that it turns into background scenery, but your brain still has to process it. What's here? What's important? What should I focus on? Those tiny micro decisions accumulate and quietly drain your attention, making your space feel more chaotic than it really is. Take a slow walk through your home and ask yourself one simple question. Does this make me feel calm or slightly tense? Your body will answer faster than your logic does. And when something gives you even a hint of discomfort, that's a sign to step in. Not by throwing everything away, but by giving visual space back to the room. Start with the hot spots: the fridge door, the desk, the TV stand, the living room walls. Instead of letting every object compete for attention, let a few meaningful pieces stand out. Store the extras and bring them out seasonally or rotate them when you feel like refreshing the room. When objects are allowed to breathe, your space feels more intentional and less demanding. The goal isn't to erase your personality, it's to let it shine without shouting. When your eyes can rest, your mind can rest, and once the visual noise fades, your home feels calmer without needing a full redesign. Now that those distractions have quieted down, we can move to the final shift, embracing balance instead of perfection, so your home truly supports you rather than overwhelms you. Finally, let's look at the bigger picture. You don't live in photos, you live in rooms. And rooms need room to be imperfect. One of the biggest traps people fall into is trying to make their home look perfect. Picture ready, magazine ready, guest ready. But a home that's too polished can feel just as uncomfortable as one that's cluttered. When every object has to be positioned just right, when every surface has to stay pristine, you stop relaxing and start performing. The truth is, no one has the time, energy, or money to maintain perfection every day. Not with real schedules, real emotions, real work, real kids, real fatigue. And chasing it only creates pressure that sits on your shoulders the second you walk through your own door. Instead of asking yourself, is this perfect? Try something gentler and far more helpful. Is this making my life easier? Is this helping me breathe better? That shift changes everything. Suddenly, you're no longer organizing for aesthetics, you're organizing for comfort. Function becomes the priority. Ease becomes the goal. Let your home have imperfections as long as the areas you interact with the most are clear enough to support you, the doorway that welcomes you in the bed. You collapse into the kitchen spots where your real day actually happens. These touch points matter far more than a flawless shelf, a spotless coffee table, or cushions lined up with military precision. When you let go of perfection, your shoulders drop a little. Your breathing gets softer. Your home starts feeling like a place you can live in, not a place you're constantly trying to keep up with. And here's the quiet magic: balance creates a home that feels like yours. It honors the rhythm of your life, the seasons you move through, and the fact that some days you have energy and some days you don't. Your home doesn't need to be perfect to support you. It just needs to make your life lighter. And with every small shift you've made, opening pathways, quieting visual noise, clearing space to breathe, your home is already starting to work with you instead of against you. These are the 10 small changes I make each week to keep my home tidy, breathable, and easy to maintain without spending too much time or feeling overwhelmed by cleaning. If you're constantly exhausted because your space always feels cluttered, try applying these changes one by one. They're small habits, but when practiced consistently, they make a huge difference in how your home feels. And if you want to build a more optimized cleaning system for yourself, the kind of system that keeps your home fresh and comfortable without having to chase after every messy corner, I also have a video where I share how to set up simple, effective routines. Don't miss it. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because you deserve a living space that feels calm, comfortable, and easy to breathe in every day.